My name is Temoseng, Chazz, Elliott. I'm from Quasanich and Lekwungen Nations. I'm currently living in the village of Quachathlap, and that's where we are today at the carving shop, which me and my brother both carve at. And this was built by my dad, Temoseng Thut, and he was a master carver, which we inherited all of our knowledge from. I am a artist. I carve, paint, and for the most part, that's how I make my living. Um, Me and my brother, we're both doing this together, Matt, Elliott, and I'm a fisherman, carver. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Family means support for me. Support in about every way you can think of, from having shelter to food to moral support, teachings. Family means having identity, um, having a culture, and yeah, just about everything about me is because of the family and inherited knowledge that's been given to me, or even the lighter things of humor and the way I walk. Family is everything I can take from to learn, and also things I don't want to know. No. Yeah, family is everything that's made me who I am, from humor to knowledge to even the bad things. The relationship between family and art, I would describe it as art being the document and family being the one to write the information. So art is like it's a document for us, especially here on the Northwest Coast. As far as I know, we didn't have a real writing system that was different than art. Everything that we documented was through art. All of our carvings, our paintings, our rock work, that was all knowledge that was being passed down through art. So it wasn't just something pretty to look at on the wall. It was actually knowledge being passed down. So that's where the relation I see between family and art is uh, knowledge of family and being handed down from one person or generation to the other. Yeah, role as an uncle for me means being there for my older nephew and nieces and younger nephews and nieces. I have sisters who are much older than me, so I was born an uncle, and some of my nephews and nieces were already older than me. And being an uncle meant being a little brother in a lot of cases for me. Um, yeah, being an uncle for my younger nieces and nephews and relatives, I've been able to support through fishing, teaching through sports, carving, art, sharing time, giving rides. I was able to be a supportive figure, and not in a parent way, but more as a friend way or a sibling way. A lot of the teachings that I have were not mine, they were just handed down to me, and they're going to the future generation after me. So, what I believe about handing them down is that um, some of them are a must, you have to pass on. And that's because a lot of it is history. That's something that shouldn't be lost. And even with today, it relates to today. Learning the history, um, decisions are made from the decisions made today are because of the history, and it's important to pass that on. And there's so much knowledge that comes with our art form because it, yeah, like I said, it's documenting knowledge, and it's important to speak about that to the future generations so they can pass it down as well and they can use it. So the big one is so they can also use that knowledge, that the stuff that I have learned or whoever's doing it. One thing I always found important was to recognize the previous teachers, the ones who, whatever I have learned, always acknowledge them. And that way it doesn't get lost in translation. Like, my teachers were very specific on what they shared with me, and they were wanting it to be understood in a way, and I didn't want me mixing it up when it came to me learning it and then passing it down. So I wouldn't want anything to be lost in translation. I want things to be handed down the way it was handed down to me, and that's with respect. So I think as my role as a student, and the way I'm answering this as a student, is to keep on learning the things that went along with being a carver from back in the day and to till now. And what I also think about that is passing that knowledge on is a key one for me. Um, Not for me though, but for future generations and for relatives and like-minded people who want to do artwork. Um, I have experience in certain areas that might be handy to someone who else is, wanting to do the same thing. So passing knowledge on and sharing knowledge, I think that's my role as a teacher. But for the most part, I'm a student. I was very fortunate to have a dad who was elderly in age, and he lived a lifetime, and he was able to share a lot of those lifetime experiences with me and my siblings. One of them was like food sovereignty, learning how to work with food and gather your own food and be sustainable for your own food on the table for your own home. So fishing was a big one for me. I learned a lot of fishing when I was younger from my dad and uncles, and being respectful is one of the teachings that was really instilled in us growing up with our elders, with one another, and also listening to younger ones too. Um, I was told a younger person could teach you just as much as an older person can, so always keep your ears and ears open, but also like keep your heart open to them too, and not just brush somebody off just because they might be younger, or even doesn't matter really who or where they come from. I was taught to learn from everybody. It's kind of how my dad made sure I learned. He wanted me to have many teachers, especially knowing that I was going to be doing this art. He wanted me to learn from a lot of different people, not just him. Remembering who were your teachers and who taught them, that's a big one for me. And yeah, I think my dad wanted me to remember that too. Taking care of yourself was a teaching that I was handed down from my dad and my uncles and aunties. Anytime we have anything heavy to do, I was taught to do different type of medicinal things that would take care of you. For instance, um, quote, taking a bath, but it's actually, you're going down to the ocean or fresh water, and you're doing a dunk under the water there and before the sunrise, and that's to help cleanse yourself of those heavy feelings and give you strength. And it's hard to do; it's not easy to do. And one of the things that I was handed down was doing grave markers for our community, and that's a responsibility that I have with my carving that I do, and to be able to continue to do that and feel okay and not carry none of that heaviness that comes along with that grief is taking care of myself. So that's one of the things that was handed down, and that's just an example. Medicines, washing yourself with medicine, ingesting different herbs and spiritual cleansing plants. My mom, she's works with plants. She's a weaver. She dyes her own wool. She weaves her own blankets from start to finish. And one of the things that she handed down to me was understanding of the medicinal properties of a lot of these plants, and Some of our work could be taxing and it could be draining, and some of these plants are there for that. Yeah, one of my favorite teachings from my dad was that he taught me to take things lightly and carry myself lightly, not to, ever be too serious or not to feel too heavy. And if there is something that is really heavy to digest and to, like a tough pill to swallow, or somebody say passes away, take it in little increments, like doses. He says that way you can digest it easier. So take everything with a grain of salt. Like never be too serious, but also never take things too light. Kind of a happy medium there. Well, I always want to see our fellow brothers doing or being healthy and doing healthy things, activities. Yeah, I hope for health for all of us. Um, our culture has so many healthy things if we follow it, whether it's our culture or just whatever kind of indigenous things that grow around us here in our territory. Keep an uplifted spirit no matter how bad things get. To lift each other up and not bash each other. Okay, yeah, I would like to acknowledge my brothers and uncles, father, grandfather, the men in the community that helped raise me. There's that quote, it takes a community to raise somebody, but that's true. A lot of times I learned a lot from the older men in my community as a kid, from hanging out at the dock. And I remember even being brought out on the boat by some of those local fishermen. And that was because of, that was something they probably went through, they were probably brought out, and they were looking out for each other. So I'd like to acknowledge the fellow brotherhoods in the community here and elsewhere. And I'm really thankful to have older bros, older relatives, from the ones from my past as a child growing up to a young adult and to now where I'm at now. And yeah, I'm just really thankful for all the men that I've had in my life over the years and the things that I could take from them.